Marcello, silver medalist to Eric Griffin at the World Championships. And Rogelio has dedicated himself totally to ending that losing streak to Eric Griffin at those World Championships. And he wants to make a convincing performance here to give Eric Griffin, who I'm sure is at home watching, something to think about as they prepare for those World Championships. The Cuban boxer got off to a sensational start in this tournament with a one-punch first-round knockout there against the American Bradley Martinez. That short chopping, clipping, really left hand inside, knocked out Bradley Martinez and established Rogelio Marcello as the man to beat here in Havana. He's not going to have it all his own way, I don't think, tonight, because his opponent is a young man named Nelson Dieppa. He is the Puerto Rican national champion, and Nelson demonstrated in his opening bout that he can provide some fireworks of his own, as he continually drilled his opponents with a series of left hooks like that one you see right there, causing several standing 8 counts, and eventually a stoppage in the second round. So, two of the smallest men in the tournament, but two with unusual power for light flyweights.
And here's a look at some of the rules of amateur boxing. Computerized scoring done by 5 judges, standing 8 and mandatory 8s in effect. 3 8 counts in a round or 4 in a bout will cause a stoppage. 3 cautions for the same violation will cause a warning and a 3-point deduction. 3 warnings for the same violation will cause a disqualification. And the referee for today's bout, the third man in the ring, is Antonio Bernal of Brazil.
The introduction is being made there. You see this crowd, you might be distracted or think there's not much interest in this boxing competition because of all those empty seats right behind our main cameras. But as you see in the upper deck and all around this Kid Chocolate Hall, this is a standing room only crowd. There's some of the crowd, and you see a lot of the flags.
And Alex, they have been lining up since about 12 noon for some of these seats.
Yeah, and those empty seats are held for dignitaries who may or may not show up for the competition.
The start of the first round, Nelson Dieppa of Puerto Rico in the red shirt. Rogelio Marcello of Cuba is in the blue.
Marcello, like Lou, you saw there the movement of Dieppa in the red, the Puerto Rican boxer, youngster. He is not letting his hands go, and you can understand that against Marcello the way he did against his Peruvian first-round opponent. But this is a talented young man, Dieppa.
Marcello, the southpaw.
The one thing that Nelson Dieppa has to watch is, as you saw there, he has a tendency to disregard his defense and concentrate too much on offense. And if he jumps in trying to wing left hooks or right hands, Rogelio Marcello is the kind of short counterpuncher who will make him pay for it. Again, he kind of charges in.
He's hammering away on the ropes now, the Puerto Rican fighter.
Works the body well. Nelson Dieppa in red, a big underdog, scores a good right hand on the inside and keeps Marcello on the ropes.
Pinning him on the ropes with his forearms.
Stop!
Dieppa busy inside. The referee steps in, separates the boxers.
And cautions Dieppa for pushing Marcello up against the ropes. Rogelio Marcello of Cuba on the right in the blue. Another caution to the Puerto Rican to keep his head up.
Remember, 3 cautions for the same violation result in a 3-point deduction. Both fighters winging punches.
Bradley Martinez of the United States came in against Marcello and completely froze. And you can see in the first half round of the beginning of this fight that Nelson Dieppa of Puerto Rico is not frozen. He's a little bit intimidated in that he's being a little bit more careful, not letting his hands go as fluidly as he did in his first bout. But he is throwing punches. And he is moving.
Stop!
The referee steps in, issues a caution to the Puerto Rican for keeping his head too low. The Puerto Rican boxers are 7-3 in the tournament so far, and the lone Cuban loss was at the hands of a Puerto Rican boxer.
You saw Marcello drill the left hand. Rogelio really measures with that right. He looks to load up with that left.
Marcello digging right hands and left hands to the ribs. Marcello being muscled and manhandled on the ropes.
By Dieppa, and Marcello retaliates.
Alex, do you see a pattern developing here with the Puerto Rican fighter trapping his guy in the ropes as the roles are reversed now?
Yeah, And Dieppa, you see him fight back bravely.
Marcello loading up with lefts. As the crowd comes alive.
Stop! Break! Pause!
Those are the only 3 words that you'll hear the officials say in amateur boxing. A good first round of action.
Oh, and a good left that time by Marcello.
Great first round.
Terrific action. And based upon the way Nelson Dieppa performed in his opening bout, it's something to be expected. There you see Alcides Segura on the left, leaning through the ropes. That's pretty calm for Alcides Segura. We'll get you a translation in a moment. Here's some of the action from round 1. Marcello of Cuba driving Dieppa back in the ropes with the left hand. And some action later. Watch the left again by, right on the button as Marcello jumps in with the left hand. Ordinarily, you'd think that left hand might have, in the old scoring, might have swayed the judges and given Marcello the round. With this new electronic scoring, those kind of late round rallies should not sway the judges. The punches should simply be counted when they occur.
That's Dieppa in the red. Rogelio Marcello from Guantanamo, Cuba is in the blue. Round 2 action. Marcello moving forward.
Alcides Segura in the Cuban corner told Marcello, stay in the middle of the ring. Don't let him put you in the corner. You take the initiative. You force him into corners.
Marcello backing up his opponent now.
Dieppa has learned respect. He is not charging in. He's now waiting for Marcello to lead.
Stop!
Dieppa showing his lack of experience and not stepping back. And Marcello again jumping in with his left.
Dieppa moving in, but he can't trap Marcello so far in the second round. Hasn't been able to get him on the ropes.
Marcello of Cuba on the left, big favorite, found the range first in this bout.
Alex, are you surprised that we haven't seen more left hooks from the Puerto Rican boxer?
Well, one of the reasons we have not is the fact that Dieppa is now as much concerned with defending against those left hands by Marcello as he is about getting off his own punches. His offense has been disrupted by Marcello's punches, and he just has to start thinking about making Marcello miss. Oh, good inside. Marcello just eating up Dieppa on the inside.
Marcello with a flurry of punches, a few that land. Referee issuing a caution to the Puerto Rican boxer.
And it's Dieppa that hangs on, forces the clinch, and gets a caution. Again, Marcello loads up the left and drills it. And again, Dieppa's holding on, trying to stop this torrent of punches that he's getting hit with. He's just confused right now.
Marcello digging shots to the body.
Ordinarily, Nelson Dieppa, Puerto Rico, would try to fight his way out of those exchanges, but he tried that the first round. It didn't work.
Oh, and Marcello landed a left.
There you see Nelson loading up some punches of his own. But again, you see him grabbing. And Marcello, the veteran, working the body.
Oh, good flurry by the Cuban boxer. And Dieppa comes back.
And Marcello retaliates in kind.
Non-stop action here in the second round. Marcello with the left hand. Marcello missing a left-right and hanging on.
That's a trip. That's a trip. Oh, he's close. It's a knockdown.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Time has run out.
We are are live and back for round 3 of this 106-pound light flyweight semifinal between Rogelio Marcello of Guantanamo, Cuba in the blue and Nelson Dieppa of Puerto Rico in the red. This has been an exciting bout, Alex. How do you see it so far?
Well, Marcello won both rounds. The second, on our card, the second more convincing than the first. I think the crucial factor here is just Marcello's superior experience. I don't think Dieppa's intimidated by this crowd cheering Marcello on. I think it's just Marcello's experience and that really has given him a big edge.
Both fighters on the outside getting a little more distance in between them now.
And that's not Nelson Dieppa's best fight on the outside. He's a guy who likes to get on the inside and let go with both hands, but he's much more comfortable on the outside because on the inside he's getting eaten alive.
Now there was a standing 8-count issue to the Puerto Rican boxer near the end of the second round. That is the only standing 8 of the bout so far.
And it was not a hurting blow. It looked to me like their feet got tangled up a little bit. There was a punch on the inside. We should point out that that standing 8-count, the punch that caused it does not count anymore because it caused a knockdown in amateur boxing. Dieppa able to force Marcello back a little bit more in this round. Oh, good left there on the inside by Dieppa in the red, the Puerto Rican youngster.
Dieppa rings another left off Marcello's ear. Moving forward, loading up with the right, just missing. Now they resort back to infighting. Marcello lands a couple of punches and slips away nicely off the ropes. Rogelio Marcello bouncing on his toes.
Wild right by Nelson Dieppa. He's gone away from the short punches that he showed us in the preliminary round. But of course, in the preliminary round, he didn't have Rogelio Marcello of Cuba facing him. But you can see that this Puerto Rican youngster has some talent. He's got ability. And if he learns from this match and comes and uses it for him, you know, he's somebody who's going to be seen maybe next year in Barcelona, maybe this year in the World Championships. He's a tough little fighter.
Throws another right that lands on the top of Marcello's head.
That's a right hand he can get away with against lesser boxers, but not against world-class ones like Marcello.
The heads of the two boxers dangerously close. Fighting at close range.
It used to be in the Pan Am Games that bouts like this against Puerto Ricans and Brazilians and Venezuelans were just tune-ups, really, just marking time until the Cubans met the American boxers. But as you can see, the lesser nations have come on.
Winding down to the end of the fight, and it was a good one.
Good little action fight.
Marcello tapped his opponent on the head, said, "Take that one with you."
I guess it's when the two boxers, one weighs 103 something and 104 something, you have to call it a good little fight. Marcello having his headgear removed by Alcides Segura.
Now for the decision.
Por punto, en la esquina azul de Cuba, Rogelio Marcello.
Rogelio Marcello wins by a margin of 21-7. Surprising.